Hey everyone, I wanted to go over some quick thoughts about our recent Love FM event here at Northview. It was just this past Saturday and a kind of a warm but mild Saturday in June. I was just so blessed that we were able as a church to truly serve our community. We talk about a lot of great things in our walk with Christ. We talk about growing in our faith. We talk about studying the Word. We talk about sharing our story. We call it a testimony. But then there are those times where you just know that God has asked us to do something as a church, as a body of believers, tangibly, and we were able to do that just this past Saturday. Where we went for those, and this is for really anyone, but mostly I want people to hear some reaction and thoughts from me. Um, for maybe those of us that weren't able to be part of this event, but might want to be part of an event like this in the future. So, how this originated is we approached Officer Michael Bloom and Counselor Allie Moody, and they really identified this project as a great need that we could meet in our community. And in the Arbors, which is in the middle of a Section 8 housing community here in North Dakota in Fargo, we were able to really address a critical need for a food pantry that sits in the middle of that community. That community is called the Arbors, as I've said, and the food pantry was for lack of a better term, I wouldn't say it was run down because that's pretty extreme, but it definitely wasn't a place where I think many people felt like it was a bright spot to come receive food, especially for folks who have that need in their life. And so the Arbor's Food Pantry sits in the middle of the housing development with the buildings, and there's a park right there as well. Something that really blessed me as we were able to eat together as volunteers and as residents in that community. We were able to eat together. Michael Bloom prepared hot dogs on a grill. We had our team bring other condiments and side items. So we were able to eat all together. We had three barbers from a great place in town called Skill Cuts. They are known to do pretty high-end barber services, but a gentleman from our church, he goes by E. He brought his friend Z and another guy. I didn't get to meet the third gentleman, but I met Z, E's friend, and they estimated they did between 15 and 20 haircuts in a few hours' time. And so they had a station up just outside the food pantry. Another great work is that the food pantry has two levels. The upper level had some pretty old carpet in tough shape, and our team was able to um, rip out all of that carpet and dispose of it outside of the building and get that floor down to the subfloor where new flooring could be replaced. And then another major part of what we did was the lower level and upper level had a like red or tan color of paint, and we were able to get it all to white with kind of an olive green trim, just to really brighten up that space, which is really, really encouraging. And a lot of work from a lot of people was placed into that. That was probably a little bit more intensive than many people thought because of the texture of that wall. But it was an incredible interior paint work, and a lot of work was done between rollers and brushwork to get that work done. We also did a lot of deep cleaning, and so there were two bathrooms in this facility that got deep cleaned. We deep cleaned um, some other spaces in the Arbor's Food Pantry, some storage rooms, and then we were also able to get rid of some old and expired food and throw that away. There are also some large, heavy objects in the building that they just had not been able to remove. We were able to remove those and either dispose of them or transport them out of that space to give them a little breathing room there. And what's really exciting is the Fargo Park District is going to come in and install new flooring, I'm told, this week to kind of finalize that first pass. Now, admittedly, the exterior of that building could use some work. So I've been thinking and praying about, if there's an opportunity for us to help with the exterior of that building, but at least when people walk in, it will feel just very welcoming. And one of the managers of this building said, they're just really excited to serve people in a greater way through this pantry now that it's been cleaned and painted. But I want to leave us with three thoughts. The first thing is, 1 John 3, uh, we read very clearly that we cannot look at a fellow person who's in need when we have material possessions and not take pity. And this is a real need in our community that we got to meet. We know that we don't love. It says in 1 John 3:18 that we don't want to just love with words, but with actions and in truth. And this is a way to show love to people through actions. But firstly, we came together to serve as a body of Christ. We have to come together to serve. You don't even realize this, but you want to come together with other people to serve others. It's what you want to do. And we had an opportunity to do that together. The second thing is we met a real need. We didn't make up a need and say, this is the need we want to meet. We asked some community leaders, what is a need we can meet? We were given that opportunity, and over 40 people came together to meet a real need for real people who are going to now benefit from that need being met. And then finally, we were able to tell the story. Um, when we tell the stories, God uses that to continue the conversation in people's lives. And so through social media and the creative team who was on site and just did such a fantastic job, they were able to tell the story of how people in our community care about each other. And it was fun. Our oldest son was with me, we got to sit down and talk to a lady. Her name's not Denise, but I'll call her Denise. She's the mom that I got to sit next to and just talk a little bit about her story. And she's very thankful. She came out of Liberia through various country movement and eventually found her way to Boston, was there for 15 years, but just had such a bad experience with the crime where she was living with Boston with her 3 children that she found a way to move to Fargo. And the Arbors has been a big blessing to her because although the Arbors is not a perfect place to live, it is much more safe than where she was living before. And we got to be part of being a blessing in her life. She asked about Northview, what are you guys about? And I was able to share that with her. I didn't even identify myself, as the pastor of the church or anything, but just as a friend that wanted to know a little bit about her story and just say, hey, we're so glad we could be with you guys today. And a little boy got to share a bag of Cheetos with our son Jay. So all those things matter. All these days matter, and we know that everybody counts. And so that's why we exist as Northview Church, and may we always love with actions and with truth.